What if I told you that El Salvador just became one of the safest countries in the Western Hemisphere while simultaneously going all in on Bitcoin as legal tender? Sounds impossible, right? But here on the Salvador Shift, we uncover the truths that mainstream media won't show you. Today, we're counting down 10 things about El Salvador's economic transformation that will completely change how you see this small Central American nation. And trust me, number 1 will leave you speechless. Number 10. Starting at number 10, El Salvador eliminated one of the world's highest murder rates in just 3 years. This might sound normal to you, but here's what most people don't realize. When you go from being called the murder capital of the world to safer than many U.S. cities, your entire economy transforms. Tourism explodes. Investment flows in. People start businesses again. Have you ever stopped to think how this would work in your own country? But that was just the beginning. Number 9. Tourism revenue skyrocketed by over 30% as the country went from feared to desired. Now this is where things start getting interesting. While the world was busy writing El Salvador off as too dangerous to visit, the country was quietly building a surf tourism paradise, and Bitcoin Beach became an international destination. Would you take that kind of risk if you were in charge? Wait until you hear what happened next. Number 8. El Salvador became the first country in history to make Bitcoin legal tender. Here's the part that nobody talks about. Whether you love crypto or hate it, this move put a tiny country of 6 million people on the global map overnight. Every financial institution, tech company, and investor suddenly knew exactly where El Salvador was. The international community said it couldn't be done. They were wrong. Can you imagine your government doing something this bold? This part will shock you. Number 7. They built an entire geothermal Bitcoin mining operation powered by volcanoes. Now, I need you to pay attention because this changes everything. Instead of just talking about Bitcoin, El Salvador literally harnessed volcanic energy to mine cryptocurrency. We're talking about renewable energy from the earth itself powering a digital currency revolution. The Salvador Shift has been following this story since day one. And what we discovered was that this wasn't just about crypto, it was about energy independence and innovation. Would you support this in your hometown? But hold on, because number 6 is even crazier. Number 6. Coming in at number 6. Foreign direct investment interest surged as the country became a hot topic in global finance circles. This is the moment when international investors started asking, what's really happening in El Salvador? People started to realize that underneath all the controversy was a country willing to try bold experiments that other nations were too afraid to attempt. How would you feel if this happened where you live? And if you think that's intense, wait until you hear number 5. Number 5. Halfway through at number 5. The government wiped out gang control that had strangled the economy for decades. This is where the story takes a dramatic turn. Entire neighborhoods that were no-go zones for businesses suddenly opened up. Markets that couldn't operate. Shops that had to pay extortion. Small businesses that couldn't survive. All of that changed virtually overnight. In fact, the economic activity that was suppressed for years suddenly exploded into life. Do you think they made the right choice or went too far? But that was just the beginning of the real transformation. Number 4. El Salvador secured a major IMF deal worth $1.4 billion, proving international institutions still believe in their economic future. By now, the world was watching. Critics said the country was headed for disaster, that Bitcoin would crash their economy, that they'd be isolated. But here's what the Salvador Shift uncovered that others missed. Despite all the controversy, the IMF still stepped in with significant financial support, showing confidence in the country's economic direction. Would you trust your country to do something this revolutionary? This part will shock you even more. Number 3. They rebuilding Bitcoin City, a futuristic metropolis powered entirely by geothermal energy with zero income tax. This is the game changer. Imagine a city where cryptocurrency is the foundation of the economy, where renewable energy powers everything, and where there's no income tax to attract global talent and business. Experts said it was impossible. Critics called it reckless. But the blueprints? They're already drawn. Could this be the future for all of us?
Now,
Before we get to the top two, make sure you're subscribed to the Salvador Shift because what's coming will blow your mind. Number 2 is absolutely insane. Number 2. Remittances, money sent home from Salvadorans abroad, now flow into the country faster and cheaper than ever through Bitcoin rails. Okay, this is where it gets personal. For millions of Salvadorans working in the US, sending money home used to cost 10% or more in fees.
now,
With Bitcoin integration, families receive more money, faster. Real people, real lives, real consequences. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars staying in the pockets of working families instead of going to wire transfer companies. What would you sacrifice for this kind of change? And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Number 1 is not just shocking, it's going to make you question everything you thought you knew. And finally, number 1, El Salvador went from economic irrelevance to being the global case study for whether a nation can successfully integrate cryptocurrency into its financial system. Let that sink in. Whether Bitcoin succeeds or fails in El Salvador will literally influence policy decisions for billions of people worldwide. Central banks are watching. Governments are studying. Economists are debating. This tiny Central American country is now the laboratory for the future of money itself. This isn't just about El Salvador anymore. This is about whether traditional financial systems can be disrupted, whether small nations can challenge global monetary norms, and whether innovation can happen outside of Silicon Valley and Wall Street. Are we witnessing the beginning of something that will change the world? This is why we do what we do here on the Salvador Shift, to bring you the stories that matter, the truths that challenge, and the futures that inspire. So there you have it. 10 things about El Salvador's economy that prove this country is not just a nation. It's an economic experiment that could reshape global finance. If this shocked you, wait until you see what we're uncovering next week. Drop a comment below. Do you think El Salvador's Bitcoin gamble will pay off? Or is this the biggest economic risk of the 21st century? And don't forget, hit that subscribe button, because the shift is real, and you don't want to miss what happens next.